Hey guys, it's Sabrah from Love English here. Welcome back to our channel. Now, today I have a lesson all about managing stress. So close your eyes, take a deep breath. You're by a beautiful forest. Not that kind of stress, word stress. Stress on the syllable of words, which will really help you with your pronunciation. Now in English, where the stress goes on a syllable can have a huge impact on the meaning. It's the difference between ordering a dessert, yummy, or a desert. So, as you can see, where we put the stress changes the pronunciation dramatically. Also, if you can place the stress on the correct syllable, it's going to make you sound much more natural in English. So what do we mean by word stress? Well, the stress on words with more than one syllable means that one of those syllables will be stressed. When we say the stress, we mean where the voice puts more emphasis. And this can be going up in pitch, or it can be staying on that syllable for a longer period of time than the others. First of all, let me just explain to you what a syllable is. A syllable is a unit of pronunciation where there is a vowel sound. As soon as the vowel sound changes, then we move to a new syllable. Let's look at some examples of this. Book, book. One syllable because there is one vowel sound. Let's look at another word. Apple, apple. As you can hear, there are two vowel sounds, a and ul, therefore two syllables. Now, where the stress goes can actually be quite stressful. However, there are quite a lot of rules which are very helpful, and today we're going to look at 6 of those. Okay, rule number 1 is that when you have nouns or adjectives with 2 syllables, the stress is normally on the first syllable. So nouns or adjectives with 2 syllables, the stress is normally on the first syllable. For example, apple, handsome, table, funny, clever, perfect. Can you hear the stress is on the first syllable? We don't say perfect or funny, we say funny, perfect. The stress is on the first syllable. However, there are a few exceptions to this rule, just a few, and they are hotel, machine, extreme, complete. So in those cases there, they are exceptions to the rule and the stress goes on the second syllable. Okay, rule number 2, verbs and prepositions with 2 syllables. When you have verbs and prepositions with 2 syllables, the stress is normally on the second syllable. This is particularly the case for verbs. Putting the stress on the second syllable makes the verb sound much more active, which a verb is an action word. Let's look at some examples. Attract, announce, collect, report, around, below. An important tip here, guys, is that if you are not sure where to put the stress, or if you're trying to work out where the stress is, try putting the stress on all the syllables, so both the syllables, and see which sounds correct. So for example, remove. It sounds correct on the second. If you put it on the first, how does it sound? Remove. It doesn't sound as correct. So always have a try if you're not sure to see how it sounds, and normally you should be able to hear which sounds correct. Exceptions to this rule are verbs which end in er or en. For example, enter, listen, happen, answer. The stress there is on the first syllable. So exception to the rule is en and er ending verbs. The stress will be on the first syllable, not the second. Okay, rule number 3. This is when verbs and nouns are the same word, but the stress differentiates whether the word is being used as a noun or a verb. For example, present, present. I'm going to present you with a present. So the rule is when the word is being used as a noun, the stress will be on the first syllable. If the word is being used as a verb, the stress will be on the second syllable because, as we said before, this makes the verb sound more active. Present, present. So first syllable for a noun, second syllable for a verb. Let's look at some more examples of this. Rebel, rebel. He's a rebel. He's going to rebel. What's that object? What's that object? I'm going to object. A confusing homophone which I want to mention is the difference between dessert and desert. Dessert, very yummy, and desert, very hot. They have a different stress pattern, and that's how we know the difference between them. Dessert, it's on the second syllable. Desert, it's on the first. Okay, rule number 4. This is for 3-syllable words ending in ER or LY. Now, when there are 3 syllables and it's ER or LY ending, the stress is usually on the first syllable. For example, officer, manager, quietly, hopefully. Okay, next rule. Words ending in CY, PHY and GY. Now, these are 3 to 4 syllable words. In these cases, the stress is normally on the second syllable. However, it can be on the third syllable, particularly if the word has 4 or even 5 syllables. Let's look at some examples of when it falls on the second syllable. Democracy, photography, psychology, transparency. Let's look at some examples of when the stress falls on the third syllable when there are 4 or 5 syllables. Insufficiency, inconsistency, aristocracy, methodology. How many syllables does methodology have? Let's check. Methodology. 5. Phew. Okay, the final rule is for words which have a shun ending, TION or SION. When there is this ending, the stress will come before the shun. Let's look at some examples. Creation, education, commission, administration, accommodation, permission. The stress always will come before the shun. Okay guys, they were our 6 rules for understanding word stress. Now I'm going to give you a little quiz, a little test to see how well you were really listening. Now I am not going to say the word, but think back to the rules I taught you and see if you can remember where the stress is. Number 1, where is the stress? That's right, it's on the first syllable, lover, because it is a 2-syllable noun and generally the stress goes on the first syllable in 2-syllable nouns. Number 2, where is the stress? That's right, it's on the second syllable, include, because this is a 2-syllable verb and so normally the stress falls on the second syllable. Number 3, where is the stress? Did you remember? I'm sure you did. Yes, this is an exception to the rule. So the stress goes on the first syllable because it is an EN ending verb. Happen. Number 4. That's right, this is another 2-syllable verb, so stress is on the second. Protest. If this word was a noun though, it would be on the first syllable. Protest. Number 5. That's right, this is a 3-syllable LY ending word, so the stress is on the first syllable. Silently. Number 6. That's right, the stress is on the second syllable because this is a CY ending word, and usually the stress is on the second. Proficiency. Sometimes, however, the stress with CY ending words can be on the third syllable in some cases, as we saw before. Number 7, last one. That's right, it is before the shun, so it is discussion. Well done guys, I'm sure you did a great job on those and I'm sure you got lots of those correct. That is the end of today's lesson on stress. I hope it was helpful and I hope it makes word stress a little bit less stressful. We'll see you soon on Love English. Bye bye.